Workshop meeting of the village board. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is public comment.
Talk about this.
Mr. Finkel, it's public comment.
Mr. Finkel, yes. Are we gonna be able to talk about this when you guys talk about it, or we have to say what we have to say during public comment period? Is there gonna be a public hearing about it?
There's not going to be a public hearing.
How's that possible?
Because it's not required.
Not much.
It's a public hearing is not required.
The purchase of property.
Correct. Tom, you want to take that one?
I'm looking at village law 6-624, acquisition of lands for parks, etc.
And again, just so that everybody knows that this, not one penny of taxpayer dollar is going into this purchase. It comes out of the cell tower lease money. No,
Sure it is.
it's not taxpayer because it is paid by the cell phone
That's
company.
purely semantics. That's
No, it's
taxpayer
not
money.
that. When I think tax, I think property tax, okay?
Well, that's
So-
our money still.
It's our money, but it's not property tax.
It's still village, it's still village.
Income, revenue.
Oh, yeah, obviously, because we're spending, we're planning on spending. And
By
buying,
law, it can only be spent to acquire parkland or make capital improvements to existing parkland.
And you don't have to have a referendum on this either.
I have looked and looked for one, and I cannot find a requirement for doing that.
by the way, I thought a referendum would be required also, which is why I asked Tom to look into it, but
Well, maybe we should just have one anyway.
Why are they keeping
there
this away
are-
from the public?
2 trustee positions open. And a mayor position
Not right now.
open. No, but there will be.
Yeah.
So
So I can't have an opinion and.
No,
have
you
a
can have
voice
an-
about it unless I'm on the board.
you can have an opinion.
You can only hold a referendum in the event that a permissive referendum is allowed. So if something is subject to permissive referendum, then the board can vote to hold the referendum, even though one hasn't been called for. But I don't find where there is that this purchase is subject to public referendum.
Anyways, and right now, I mean, you know what is planned, so now's a good opportunity to ask your questions.
I'd like to say something.
Go for it.
First of all, this meeting tonight really is not a legal meeting. Under the Open Meetings Law. You need to advertise. This was not advertised.
Certainly it was.
Our,
You got an email?
It was advertised. I received it at 11:33 yesterday morning. That's less than 72 hours before the meeting.
We have 2 regularly scheduled meetings a month and we
Yeah,
cancel.
normally you don't.
We have the last 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years we've had 2 meetings a month.
Unless
And
we deem.
It's on the village website as well. Workshop, first Wednesday is workshop.
Where was it advertised to the people in the village?
It does not have to be advertised. You have a regularly scheduled meeting. You don't need to advertise that. We have regular meetings on the first and third Wednesdays of each month. The one held on Wednesday is a workshop meeting, and if there's no reason to have the meeting, the mayor can cancel it. But unless the mayor cancels it, it's a regular meeting. And although it's called a workshop meeting, it's a meeting for all purposes, including taking votes.
And I believe I sent the email out with everything on Monday morning.
This used to be a very warm and fuzzy little village when I first moved here.
Still is, as far as I know.
I don't.
Do you read my, you do read my emails?
Where do you advertise the meetings?
We don't advertise
When you,
meetings.
well, where do you cancel meetings then? There must be a place where you cancel them, so I would know if I had planned on coming to a meeting, Where was it you canceled?
Have we ever canceled a meeting?
We don't hold the workshop meetings every month, but we don't send out.
Right, I do my best after much haranguing by Mr. Finkel to get information out ahead of.
That's much.
No.
Stand back. buddy.
After,
What'd you tell me? I would think proof this government.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I am doing my best to Finkel-proof the government, so I try to get information out at least 2 days ahead of time. And I think I did this time as well.
Okay, but the difference is, you're spending $300 and something thousand, the village's money, our taxpayer money.
Not taxpayer, but our money.
It's taxpayer.
No, it's not. It is not taxpayer
Well,
money.
what is that?
It's our money, but it's not taxpayer.
It's not money raised by.
It's not money raised by
It's
taxes.
money raised by taxpayer land that is leased out.
Another point.
Okay,
This should be, if it's $300,000, whatever, it's not just a regular meeting. Now, you're gonna vote on it tonight, decide tonight, without anyone really saying, hey, I don't want this, except for me and her. Nobody, even my mother said, I didn't know anything about it.
does she read my emails?
She doesn't know anything else.
Then I cannot help her.
So, well, somebody that's that affected by it should receive a letter on it. No, you have to send every bed and breakfast,
That's a
anybody that's.
different set of rules, Jim, and you know it.
It just feels like you're ramming it through. Without any discussion, without anybody saying that, yeah, no, I should be the person that says I want it the most. 'Cause it's gotta- That way I don't have to. worry
Now,
about
as-
building 30 houses.
But hang on, as I recall, maybe 8, 10 years ago, there was a plan to buy that land.
I knew that, and I said, no, I don't think the village should spend money on more land, we have enough land that they don't do anything with already.
We have a fund that literally is for purchasing, land, and that's the only thing we
A
can do.
little capital improvements of a new playground.
So we can do that too.
Well, how come we have it? That one over there sucks, that one over there really sucks. So, you know,
We're disagreeing with them.
well, then, yeah, you live right next to it.
$600,000 in the parking.
I know how much is in there, why don't we spend it on a new playground instead of 300,000 on that?
Let me ask you something. Why would you want to keep this from the general public? Why?
Why would we want to what?
Keep this from the. general
Dixie, I
public.
sent out 535 emails. That is not keeping it,
Everybody-
that is not keeping it from the general public. It is doing the best I can possibly do to let everyone in the village know. I put it on the Facebook, the village Facebook page. I sent out 535 emails. I'm not going to go door to door knocking at it. I mean, people have to read their bloody email if they want to know what's going on. I've been saying it for years. I'm very tired of that excuse.
So, let me understand this, he keeps those building lots and builds them, the builder.
No.
Whose are the building lots
He's
then?
a real estate.
Who's?
You should let him answer, please.
In all likelihood, when this project's all done, he'll have 4 building lots plus an existing house. Correct?
No. This is 2 parcels of land. Andy's land is a separate parcel. And so,
Right.
Andy's land is not part of this deal. It's not, we're buying 32 acres, whatever it is that he owns. Separate, it's on a separate deed, it's not Andy's land. And then he wants to put 2 houses down on Lawrence Road.
Yeah,
That's it. If he wants to come in and subdivide Andy's land and put 3 houses on there, you can. That's a separate, it's a separate thing.
But the developer, correct me if I'm wrong, the developer, once this is done, he's finished. He can give this, he can sell those lots. Correct? It's no longer his property, but there are saleable lots. There's 3 saleable lots.
Right, he has 3 saleable lots right now.
right, that's Andy's, and then 2 on Morris Road.
No, yeah, right now, Andy's on its 4 acres, so yeah, he can get, I mean, he's looking to put 3 4-acre lots.
Okay,
So there's 3 acres on that, whatever it is, couple acres at the end of it.
and then the rest of it is the top of the,
Right.
and then 2 lots down on
Right, so
Morris
really
Road.
what he's for is, he's looking to sell us 32 acres, and he wants two lots down on Forest Road.
So he paid 110,000 for that, and now he wants 312, plus he gets two lots out?
Yeah.
Have we had it assessed?
Yes,
It's crazy.
$312,500 by a professional
So
appraiser,
he's making out like a band.
not assessed, an appraiser.
Yeah, well, I guess my view is that he's coming with multiple plans to do 30, to do 40.
Shut him down. You can't do nothing. Let him pay the taxes on it.
Eventually he'll build. He's not gonna stay shut down forever. I mean, but, you know, he'll come back.
Why? If we keep telling him he can't build that many, that road cannot support that many homes.
Richard, you don't object. The fact is, a property owner has rights in our zoning law and property law to build certain things of certain sizes on their property. This guy, in this case, has 33 acres.
Then how does the planning board shut him down? If they can't, they did it once.
He shut him down because he did not own the Yankees lot, and he didn't have access to, so he went and paid
Well, last time he came back, he owned the game.
Yeah.
Still got shut down.
But
They wanted, PDDs twice. 2 times.
right,
Right, one was for nursing. I know the history. I know.
One was for 20 somehow.
34 hours.
he's coming, I actually,
Well, we shut him down every time, so why do we need the back property?
Because he doesn't have, he came to the village board for special legislation. We rejected the item.
He projected it.
But he does not have to come to the village board for special legislation. He can go directly to the planning board and build something up
They
there.
shut him down too. Planning board shut him down, even harder than you guys. did.
I'm going to interrupt this because I want to put on the record that no proposal has been shut down. There has been no formal proposal. There have been informal discussions in which the village has pointed out, you understand that you would have to bring water, provide water pressure. You understand you would have to provide, sewer service. You understand that with this particular configuration, you'd have to have a second road to exit the property. And when those requirements were pointed out, then
He said he couldn't do
that
it.
informal proposal was abandoned and they come back with something else, but there's been no actual proposal. No applicant has been shut down.
Well, what do you call it then? He wasn't shut down. He was told he couldn't do it.
No,
He's told that from what I listened to on the planning board, he's told he couldn't do it.
He was told that if you want to do it, you will have to do improvements on the road, put a pressure, a booster pump.
Keep doing that. Just tell him you gotta do all these improvements. He can't afford to do all those and make money on those lots. And we're gonna spend a bunch of money, take that off the tax roll.
The taxes on that is minimal.
It's still taxpayer money, Gary.
This is taxpayer money. You are correct on this.
I just don't see that there's no benefit for us. Are we gonna be able to access that?
Yes,
after-
we do have access
How?
through the road. Part of the deal, well, somebody, Peter, you want to tell them?
yeah, one of what he's looking for is to get that access road, that benefit road, probably it's the 30th road, you get to the planning board, so I probably the road that is, how long that is. I'm not sure, at least road into the land.
But part of the deal is we have access to it. It's an easement, right?
Is it the
Ready?
30th road?
Are we done with public comment?
Oh, yeah.
How are you gonna do that between that house and that garage? There's not-
Did anything happen? Any new, do you have any new info on the map?
I do.
Is the village gonna have to go on this, or is he building it?
Could we stop just for a minute, take a pause in this, because Tom has some updated info.
We are not going to be able to act on this tonight because we do not have a revised sketch. What we have,
You couldn't have told me that earlier, huh? All right, so we now have
we'll
2
go down
weeks
to and I will share one.
and we will discuss it
So
Okay.
in
can we,
public comment in 2 weeks.
can we hold,
Hold 1 sec, let's just hear what we're
maybe
talking.
hold this until it comes on the agenda.
One last comment?
I just don't see any benefit for the village.
Okay, thanks. Fifth time you've seen that. Okay, so, okay, we got the point. Okay, so we're gonna table this till the next
No,
meeting, or is there anything more to?
I'd like to discuss it. We have
Okay.
two matters on the agenda. When this comes up, I have further information.
All right, any other comments? Well, my- Not blueprint, they're not building anything.
Ripped up on that.
So there's no benefit, is it?
Not about this.
Oh, okay, one last,
Thank you for the
one last-
light on the flagpole. Thank you for that. I
Okay.
still don't have a street sign on the street.
they were ordered last week.
Okay. No. Stay on top.
You're right, Garrett. You are right. All right. Public comment, okay. New business purchase of land on New York Ave for use as parkland.
Okay.
Mr. Peterson.
We had a map before us, last time when we looked at it, and I was, deputized to say that, that looked good to us and try to reduce that to a contract. I got a call, this morning from the two owners of the LLC that owns the property. And they had two comments they wanted to make. One is that the arrangement that the applicant would build the road to village specs, and when it was complete, dedicated to the village, they cannot do. They say if we do that, the cost will eliminate any profit that we would make on lots 1, 2, and 3. The second thing was that the parcels 5 and 6 outlined on that map in white, but further outlined with a heavier black line, which included the wetlands. I had asked them for clarification that it was only the white highlighted portion that they would be taking from the village, not the wetlands. The main reason for that being that the wetlands that are adjacent to the Zim Smith Trail constitute a floodplain leading, when we cross it, you get to the stream at the base of the steep slope. And that is very pretty, and that seems to be a perfect place to, put in some trails and a bench by the stream and so forth. And that's important to the village. So what they said was, we don't need all of that floodplain, but we do need some of it to add to the white parcel. And I said, well, get me a drawing of where that new border would be. After that, I discussed with Gary and Peter the option of using existing New York Avenue extension, as I've been calling it, which runs through about 60% of the Asperity property. And just leaving that in place, not improving it. And that the angular road that's outlined in green on the map, that would go away. We would simply use New York Avenue as it exists now. And Peter suggested putting gravel to the very end of that to get to what would be our property. I took that back later today to the same two individuals, and they indicated that they thought that would work. The reason they had the road in that crooked configuration was because they needed to add land to lot number 1 to make it I guess, full buildable lot. I'm not exactly sure what the reason is, but they had wanted more square footage, which they would get with what I'll call the green configuration. Instead, the village could, subdivide off a portion representing basically half again the existing lot one, on its northern border. And that the vast majority of that would be steep slope. So I don't think in a sense that it takes anything away from the use of the parkland, which of course is the plateau area. They liked that idea. They said they thought that could work. They promised to get me a revised drawing before the meeting. It just came in before the meeting. And the two lots 5 and 6, they have the new lines drawn around them that include some wetlands, which I'd like the board to opine on tonight as to whether that's acceptable. But they did not draw in the change to the location of the road. I trust that's not because they changed their mind on that, but they simply couldn't get their architect to draw that in. And for that reason, since we don't have a drawing that's going to comport with anything that the board has been able to consider, I think without a drawing, we can't move ahead. I would request that the matter be put over to the next meeting. So that's my request. In the meantime, please take a look at the what I call the reconfigured lots 5 and 6, and take a look at the black line, the area of wetland, which is the hatched area, and then you have the white area, which is the actual building lot. And I'd like the board's feedback on whether that's acceptable.
The building lot itself is, it's hard for me to read it. Do we know what the dimensions of that lot 5 building lot is?
And setbacks on it.
I see the setback areas. I do not see the lengths
does
of the
say-
sides of the lot.
50.
Been really small.
Yeah, it's really small.
40 feet from the road, 20 feet from the
The setback.
boundary line on both sides
And 50 feet
from the back.
from the back, from the wetlands that would include non-wetland.
Yeah, this one is both.
So,
And that they did, now it's done.
so that gravel New York Ave extension, quote unquote, that would be how they would be accessing those two properties. That's correct. So that would be what?
They would be, New York Avenue Extension is already paid 60%, and we put gravel down for the remainder.
So would they access,
That's what I'm asking, how they access,
how they access the lots from
Yeah.
New York Avenue if New York Avenue remains the same?
Yeah.
Well, New York Avenue would be dedicated to us.
Right.
It would remain the same physically as it is on the ground, except for some additional gravel, and that would be their access to their homes.
So they'd be coming up New York Avenue, making a left into their drive.
For two of the lots, yes, and on the old
The old one.
Prosperity home, that would be on the right.
On gravel though, or on paved road? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I would think that the first lot on to the left would be,
I'm just trying to visualize how far it's at. And then I guess-
lot 2 would be from pavement. And lot 3, it would depend on how, it could be from pavement or it could be from the gravel area.
The pavement on, by the house, that's shot,
That's what?
it's shot.
It's shot.
You're not gonna pave that?
Well, up until earlier today, our understanding was that they were going to pave it.
I mean.
Or actually not pave that, they were gonna pave an alternate route that angled off to the side.
which would be more expensive.
which would be far more expensive.
But they suggested that, that's what I'm trying to understand, and they're walking back their own suggestion.
Yeah.
It's kind of- Yeah, okay.
That's minor amount of infrastructure. Look at Griffin's Ridge and Victoria Lane, how much money they spent on infrastructure. That's a minor amount of infrastructure for that. 3 lots, or 5.
Oh, yeah,
lots.
that's a short.
That's not that much. He's making an awful lot of money for somebody that's not really doing.
All right, let's finish.
So, the lot configurations for 5 and 6, the additional land or that portion of the wetland that they want to include. Is that acceptable to the board?
How much? It looks like 50 feet. No, it looks like from the setback, the back of their property to the back of the wetland.
Where's our map?
50 feet. And that would
I think Sue has
include
been.
most of the wetland, but it will also include part of their yard. There's certain, it's a little unclear exactly how much of that 50 feet is actually wetland and how much is their backyard.
To me, the most important parcel is near the Zim Smith, and it appears to preserve all of the vast majority of that parcel for the village. 32, 34 acres.
Get it all the way down to the trail. All the steep, all the meadow and all the steep forests that you go down to the trail on the bypass side.
From the bypass, yeah.
All that part of it.
So is it an additional 20 feet on the Zim Smith side, what they're asking? And is that common understanding?
Well, they're not really asking for additional, because they're paring it back. It used to go all the way down to the Zim Smith, the crosshatched section.
Okay,
This was what they asked for. They said, no, we want to keep all.
okay,
So they reduced.
but same,
So
okay, got it,
this is the portion of physical.
got it. Yeah, I don't have any objections to that part of it. I don't have a lot of questions about the extension. They haven't presented anything, so I guess we'll hold our thoughts.
Well, the fact is, that I don't know what extent you wanted us to comment. But all of this stuff have to be planning, correct?
Not our purchase, but the lots,
Yeah,
definitely.
right, lots. So whether or not they even be successful in constructing something down on Morris Road, or constructing probably much more likely to be able to get the lots up there. I mean, I wouldn't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about our data access to them. Which we would have, but I'm just trying to visualize. Yes, I need some more.
When was the last time you looked at?
This year, just recently, yeah.
Digital.
No.
Okay, that's just.
And in defense of purchasing this, so I think at least partial defense,
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of reasons why you want to get it, but I don't think the people along New York Avenue know what would happen New York Avenue if somebody tried to fully develop it, whatever that meant, whatever 15, 20, 25, I haven't known. But New York Avenue is only 16 feet wide. That's why it's point. It's got, right, it's got nothing on the east side except a steep drop. Everything on the other side, if you had to take a 50-foot road Well, there goes your mother's front yard.
I know, I know, you're saying I should be, purchasing this, we should use the planning board, and you can't do anything.
Well, I think you're.
That is absolutely not true. They could put 4 McMansions up there and the zoning board, or in the,
That's fine, we
Planning
have the
board.
houses, it's fine, but I don't think we need to buy their land, I make him, they got 4 big huge lots up
But there's two, you know, said the two separate parcels of land.
there. Yeah, I agree, I know.
It's
Make-
I would
one
do
big
public
lot.
comment again.
I don't know. Hey, all right. Got off track here. Peter? All right.
So we don't want to discuss this any further, is that what we're saying? Or-
No, the board can.
Oh, I thought.
No, we're getting sidetracked with public comment again. That's,
So when are we supposed to get these full sketch with what they have in, what they have in mind?
Well, I had hoped we would get a full sketch tonight, but we don't. I think the changes that we have are the 2 lots next to Morris Road. And at least with lot number 5, they've included wetland with that. And I want to know whether that amount is acceptable to the board.
Yes.
We're saying that.
Okay.
yes.
So that's my straw poll. And the idea of not constructing a new roadway along the green outline here, but instead just using New York Avenue as it is, despite the fact that, Steve, you pointed out that it's in rotten condition, that would still mean we would not need to build a new road. But we would give them a little land to the north so that that would be half again, the size of the existing lot 1. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will send them back to give us a revised map along those lines. And my request is that we put this over to the next meeting for further discussion and possible action on an agreement.
I'm a little bit more up in the air on the New York Ave, idea, to be honest with you. So that's, but.
Well, it's hard to look at it and we don't have it
Right,
in front of us.
so so I'm not saying yes to that. I know it's a straw poll, so.
Okay,
A bit more indifferent. to
But
that
it's-
suggestion.
but it's worth continuing that conversation.
Correct.
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
As a former supervisor, yes. The developer is responsible for that.
I have one question too. Can I ask one?
Former mayor.
Is this gonna be, is it, if this purchase, if the property is purchased, is it gonna be put on the parking deed?
It
Yes.
would have to
It
be, yes.
is.
Well, it's not gonna be put within the parkland deed, but out the deed into the village will specify that it is for that it is parkland. It is being taken as parkland.
So it's not gonna be put on the parking deed, it's added to the.
An
so
addendum or,
it can't be sold.
No, we're not gonna,
So,
Right.
that's correct.
I think that's a contingency of spending parkland funds, right? We have to. If we're spending parkland funds to purchase this land,
We must.
it must be parkland.
I think one suggestion. How about we talk to planning board first?
no.
That would.
No,
So can we,
hold over till next meeting.
that's my request.
Item number 2, Crown Castle Cell Tower lease extension. Tommy, you want to take that?
Yes, the Crown Atlantic, which I call Crown Castle because that was its name when we started this thing, asked us to extend the lease, and we replied that we can't do so because the legislation, the New York State legislation, does not allow us to go beyond 20 years. And so I said, whatever extension we would have, which we're glad to talk about, must be on the condition that the legislature amend the 1997 legislation that allowed that parkland to be leased. They said, well, we're certainly willing to do that, although we will need the village to work with us in that. The,
Are authorized to open 2 bank accounts with Adirondack Trust. One for payroll and one for water and sewer. And it is further resolved that all line items codes associated with payroll be remapped and associated funds transferred to the newly formed payroll account. And all line items codes for water sewer funds be remapped and associated funds transferred to the newly formed water sewer account.
So,
Second? Discussion? Tom?
yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Jason? Eric? Next is authorization for a village credit card. We have been talking about this for a number of years and it's time to do it. I've got about a year's 12 monthly charges on my credit card, my personal credit card for the Zoom account, because I keep forgetting to put in for reimbursements. So there's all sorts of instances like that, and I would dearly like to make life easier by getting a village credit card. So upon the recommendation of the village treasurer, it is resolved that the village treasurer and the mayor are authorized to obtain a credit card for general village use for incidental purposes, and that the auditorium director, the village clerk, and the mayor shall be authorized users. And it is further resolved that such expenditures shall be submitted to the village board of trustees for ratification or rejection at the board's regular monthly meeting. Discussion?
So there'd be 3 separate credit cards, or one credit card is passed.
This one.
And then you would, the monthly report on credit card bill would have to reflect the dollar amount, what it was used for, and what fund.
Yes.
the village board of trustees approves expenditures to the village. And this is,
Just another.
this way it will preserve the board's oversight responsibility.
Um. Transaction cap or let's see, what would be a good cap? A monthly cap, a transaction cap?
I would say. That's, yeah.
Let's see, I'm trying to think of what we, can't think of buying anything real big with it.
Don't spend like $1,000.
I would say 500.
500?
But you gotta make something nice and you can allow.
Oh, a limit.
So you wouldn't want, this is basically. Wow. You don't. So obviously.
Right.
I think what I think, what the favor is, maybe not a policy.
Very good.
We'll be adding a $500 per transaction cap to
I
that
think we can-
resolution.
I think we can pass the resolution as it stands and then add a policy, put a policy procedure in place that we can stipulate that, Tom. That would be my. Yes. you agree with that?
I think that.
All right, good discussion. Anything else? Tom?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Yes. And next, quite often we have situations come up where, I think especially with the auditorium, we need something and like Dan will come in and say, oh, we need this part now. And we won't have a meeting in between now and when between when he needs the part and when we have a meeting. So Eric was asking if we could authorize, well, upon the recommendation of the village treasurer, it is resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to make expenditures for village purposes for incidentals which do not exceed $500 per expenditure. And it is further resolved that such expenditures shall be submitted to the village board of trustees for ratification or rejection at the board's regular monthly meeting. Now, this would be, somebody comes in and they don't take a credit card, but, we need an electrician to fix something before a show tonight. And, actually, it happened, we had a sound engineer for a show. Came in and, it was unexpected. We weren't expecting him there, but he wanted payment that night. So I think I had to get Eric here to write a check, but he really wasn't authorized to do that. So this would give the authorization to do that in these unusual situations. But we have done it. It just doesn't feel right. So that is the purpose of this.
Also, if it would use the,
Right, some people, I mean, this guy wouldn't take a credit card, he wanted a check for the audio stuff that he was doing it.
You don't need a resolution to order, street sign.
No, but this is prepaid stuff.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand like what are. Okay. Like, you don't need a resolution to make every purchase.
No,
So-
but I mean, if I'm gonna pay Dixie $500, normally we have to authorize it. You guys have to sign it and authorize it, then she gets a check. But if she comes over and says, I'm gonna beat you up, but unless you give me $500 today, I would like the authority to sign that check.
So did you make that resolution?
Sure.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes. All right, village attorney.
Nothing else?
Nothing else. Village mayor. Nothing else. Village trustees. Um, public comment?
Hey, Gary.
Oh, Eric, I didn't see.
It's a fraction of it.
Ah,
I've been told that none of the roads was full. And I think about how.
All right.
Not just giving up.
You got it. All right, you got it. All right, last public comment? Tina,
The, stop signs at George by Moonlight. Metal. There used to be like orange flags.
yeah.
That are now not existing.
Yes.
You need to take those down. They don't do any good.
That is true. Making none of that, Susan?
To do it with the law.
Efficiency.
Yes.
Peter,
I just want to make a comment that I spoke to the sheriff's office and about people talking on Route 9, they said they're not doing. We have areas in the village that people park on Route 9 on the side, and they're not going to wait in the back.
and you put that in an email to me,
Yeah.
so we have it in writing, so if there's an accident, somebody's run over getting in their car on Route 9.
You put that in there.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
I put a call on phone.
Contemporaneous note to me.
He called me on the phone, he said, we're not doing anything about it. As far as the director, well, we have this drug place, he said, we have to do anything else. We're not gonna do anything with the boat launch. We're not gonna take it off the boat.
Yeah,
Is anything that we got about their capital or water? From the institution.
discussed it with John. And I don't remember what he said. Something regrading, something about regrading. I'll ask him Make a note of that, to ask him again tomorrow to get a better answer.
It's a little sketchy in my wheelchair. I just, not one side of it.
Well, if it keeps up like this, we won't have to worry about it. Anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Thank you all.